Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I've got something a little different for you guys today. This is gonna be fun. Isn't that beautiful little red boat? This boat's got a lot of history in my family. We're gonna do a little bit of work to it. This is a Crestliner from Little Falls, Minnesota. And this boat was bought by my grandpa at a local coast-to-coast store in our neighboring town, Shelby. It's a 1957, it has the original trailer under it. It's had a complete makeover by my uncle. He's gone through the wood in it, put all new wood, all new hardware, screws, paint. My dad grew up with his family with this boat. They used to go water skiing behind it. It had an old Evinrude 30-horse two-stroke on it. We still have that engine, but it's got problems. So as you can see, it's been changed. But this originally was a front steering wheel. They had a red steering wheel up here, and I still have it, but things have changed, obviously, and you know, can't really mount that to the newer style engine with the old steering linkage and everything they had. Just was different. So my uncle, he picked up this boat, had it for a number of years, and he went through it and repainted it, did some work to it, restored it, really just brought it back, did a lot of the heavy lifting. And at some point he decided, you know, I'm just not using this boat, and I just don't know if I really want it anymore. And I was like, I kind of want that old boat back, because for one, it's just got a lot of family memories. This boat was a Welker boat for a long time. It's caught a lot of fish. It's done some crazy stuff on the water. And I've got a bunch of little guys like yay tall. And this would be a perfect boat to get them started. And, you know, plus I have a lake to put it on. So I bought it back from them and said, let's do it. So I've got some cool things coming for this. We've got some decals that are original that are going to go on it. Original trailer still under it. It's just a really, really neat old boat. So I think first up is here's the plan. I want to convert this back to a front steering wheel. Not that this is bad sitting back here, but all your weight's in the back and it's just much easier to steer up here. I want all your hand controls up here too, throttle and shift forward and reverse, as well as the engine shut off. This is not an Evinrude electric start, it is a 4-stroke. It's like one of the last years Evinrude was still in production. It's unfortunate they're not anymore. BRP discontinued them. This does obviously not have a starter, but it's a pull start. I actually looked up the engine model of this, and it's not even on their website. They don't even list it. But I was able to find a comparable engine. This is the 9.8 horse, but I did put a kit in it that supposedly bumps it up a few horsepower. We'll see. You know, for this little boat, it's plenty. And here's the thing, is there's a lot of lakes we'd like to take this boat on that have horsepower limits. And so this would fall just under that limit, so we'd be able to use this boat on those lakes. So that's kind of the plan too in this. But we're gonna convert it over to front steering. So I've got a kit to pull this apart, and I'm gonna put some linkage in here, take all this off. We'll put in the steering linkage, all new stuff, new steering wheel, new hand controls. I'm gonna try for a reasonable amount of money, hopefully not too much, get this converted back to the way it was, and then teach the kiddos how to run a boat with the steering wheel. Should be fun stuff. Let's get to it. So here's some of my parts. This is your steering linkage. Throttle, there's a shift cable in here, just real generic levers. I'm not gonna make it real complex. This is an arm to hold your steering linkage. It's gonna attach on the side here. That allows it to pivot back and forth as the engine turns left and right. Got a new prop. This is a 9.5, I believe, or 9 1/4 pitch. The original was a 7.5, 7.5-ish. So with the added horsepower, they recommend getting a little higher pitch, gets you a little better top end on the water, maybe playing out a little better. Old carb, I'm only putting that back on, but I just got it just in case. Here's my new steering wheel. Look at that, isn't that thing pretty? Hopefully it's big enough for what I need. And then your steering hardware. So, oh yeah, and then this right here, this is all the kit that goes to convert that to steering linkage instead of a hand. And then a new shut off button so I can kill the engine from up front. So I won't be able to start it from up front because I got to go back here and pull start it, but I will be able to press the button and kill it from up here, which is important. So, and then I just got some extra hardware just in case we need it. Check out this relic. That is a fire extinguisher if I've ever seen one. Isn't that sweet? It's still full too. I don't know if it's got pressure obviously, but we're keeping that just for nostalgic purposes. That's awesome. Huh, that's interesting. There was white pickup. What? Now it's not a white pickup there anymore with the engine out. It's a lawnmower and leg arms. And all my stuff got moved. It's okay. We'll pick up where we left off. Kobe. Cubby. Cubby. Hi, bud. So I was just kind of looking at what I got going on here, and I know I was gonna start the steering wheel, which I'm still gonna do, but I kind of laid out my cable, steering cable here, and it looks like I got too long a cable. I thought I had it measured out multiple times, but what I think it's gonna work out though, because what I'm gonna do, instead of having the steering wheel in the center, even though I think it was in the center originally, I'm gonna move it off to the side like it would be for a right-hand steering. And that will make up the extra foot or so of slack I got in this cable here. So if I put the steering wheel here, sit here, derive it, controls here, passenger can sit there, that cable can go underneath all there, come around underneath the firewall here and connect to that. And that should work. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to figure out a way to make up some of this cable because it's too long. But this will go right here, and then I have that bracket that'll attach it to somewhere on the back. So I guess maybe what I should do instead is just start pulling apart all this and put the kit on where I can hook the steering to. Because I just checked and all this here should go together. Am I saying a lot of here and this? Am I making any sense? No. Let's just do so.
Engine transplant. Putting a new motor in it.
Huh. Well, they never gave any instructions. I just have a bunch of pieces. Guess I better look up this part number and see if they got a guide online on how to put this on.
Okay, I'm going to take a look at the engine we pulled out of that Colorado. As you can see there, there's bearing material there. I just want to see what's left on the bearings on the mains and the rods. So we'll go ahead and I'll pull the caps off and then we'll take a look and we'll see what is left on each one. So probably, you know, the crankshaft probably needs to be turned. You know, the camshaft, I'm sure it probably needs a new camshaft, whatever. We got to make some decisions here on what we want to do. Very few engines are out there. There's a few used ones, but rebuilding this one around here, even in a couple states, is at least 3 months out before they can get it built. So it's not a quick fix. I could probably have a new engine here, but it, you know, it's going to be some bucks to get it. It'll also be some bucks to rebuild this. So we'll let's just see what the bottom end looks like. Oh crap! That's not good, guys. Looked like it was rounded. All right, what I did is it was a metric 13. I found a 1/2 inch. As far as size on this sprocket, SAE, pounded it on there, took this while I was pounding on the top and was able to get it to hold enough to break it. So, all right, I guess we got all those loose. All right, I'm gonna pull the main cap off. Okay. That holds it on. All right, let's pull those. Grab a bar. Okay, that was like that. It came out. You got a little groove there in that part. Okay, let me grab something just to mark them. This is the front. So I'm going to put a mark right here, and then 2 on this one, 3 on this one, 4 on this one, and 5 on this one. All right, let's just check and see what they look like. Okay, so we looked at this one. This is number 1, main. Okay, let's try number 2. Okay, number 3. The mains aren't destroyed. Number 4, so far. There we go. Yeah, it's sure pitted and scarred. Let's pull the last one off. Yeah, a few little slight grooves in it. Okay, to pull this, the crank out, I've got to pull this back seal casing here that holds the seal down and the crankshaft down. So we have to pull the flywheel off, but we could look at some of the rods. Okay, this is the one here that has plate has come apart on this bearing here. It started to, I think, turn into the rotate. Just started to. Okay. As you see, it started to squish. Maybe try to start turning or whatever and pulled the cup of the bearing, and not a pretty picture. It's getting real thin there. Okay, how's the rings? This is number 1. They're still loose. They're somewhat semi-functioning, but interesting on that one. Let's do this one. Yep, that was ready. As you can see, this one was okay. It hadn't been destroyed, so number 1, rod bearing was bad. Number 2, not bad. Same with number 3. All right. Okay, as you can see, the bearing is being squeezed out. It's rough. So far, what I can tell of the crank, it could be cleaned up, but definitely wore.
All right, as you can see, there was no instructions, just a parts diagram here, which gave me some idea where stuff goes. I think I got it all figured out. The choke's now been converted over to go from the front here to now down over here. So the choke works. Throttle and shifting has been removed. A lot of linkage has been removed. Removed the control arm out here with your throttle on it. All that linkage has been gone, cable. So now I've got a little rubber guide grommet piece that goes in here. And then these two, which go to your cable, that attaches to this arm that I installed. So that'll pull forward and back for your forward and reverse neutral. That cable will go through and attach up here. I have the cables, I haven't put them in yet. Hopefully they're the right ones. The next thing I gotta figure out is the throttle. I used to hook right here, and it had a little wheel there with the throttle cable. I'm not 100% sure how this works, so I gotta figure that out, how to get the throttle linkage hooked up. That's the next step. The more and more I look at it, the more and more I think I wasn't supposed to remove this throttle swivel here that attached to the handle. I think that's supposed to stay in there and the new linkage attached to that, and then this remains the same. I just wasn't sure if it all fits, so that's okay. I can put this back on, that's easy enough. It's just right there. And then the throttle, the new throttle cable that comes in the front here, I believe attaches to this, and then that gives your throw. So let's go with that. That's exactly what it was. I just took the wrong bracket off. I'll put it back on, we're good now. That's connected. I'll have to obviously readjust all this. Now I can either figure out the throttle and shift linkage, or I can go to what I was gonna do and get the steering linkage figured out. I think with this running along the edge of the boat frame here, the hull down up underneath here, that the length will come out about right for the steering wheel to be right there. I might have to kind of have a little bit of loop to get some of the slack out, but I think we'll come out okay. So I gotta get this arm figured out. Steering wheel or this? Well, I think I should get this on first because the steering wheel can move. This can't. That's got to be in the right place. So let's get this figured out. So we ran into a little snag. Welker Farms is helping me. One snag, my cable's too long by a foot. So we're gonna order a 13-footer and return this 14-footer, but we're gonna use a continuity to knock this up with. Second snag is this bracket that was provided just isn't really working that well. I had bought these just in case I could use them, and so Welker Farms is building a bracket to have that attach out there. We'll throw it out a little further, which will let our linkage work better because the problem is when you tip this engine up in the transport, it throws that down. And there was a tube here that was a safety lock so people couldn't steal, not safety, but a security lock so people can't steal your engine. Well, I cut that off because that was in the way. But hopefully this works. We'll get it all mocked up, get the bracket in, and then get the steering installed over there. And then it's just a matter of waiting for the right one to show up and put the cable in. So we'll see if we get there.
That's our iconic steering wheel. The way it looks.
That's why I bought it. It's small, but it's actually good for your legs because it's not down your legs.
Yes.
They make a kit that tips it up. But yeah, the steering wheel, that's why I figured it's, yeah, when I saw it, I was like, oh, that should go on this. There we go. Check that out. So when the right cable comes, I'll swap it out and put it in there, but I knew I could get at least this installed, and then the cable will go up and around and back to the motor, so that's beautiful. $1,600 so far. That's good. I'll just keep her going. Could get 3-4 tenths, I hope. That'd be amazing. We need it desperately. Oh, it feels so good. Back to the old boat project, and look what showed up. The new steering cable. It's a foot shorter. And then I got my chintzy shift levers here. This will be for my shifting and throttle. Throttle cable I had originally wasn't gonna work, so I had to send those back. Got new ones coming, they'll be here in a day or two, so we'll put those in. Hopefully that works. And then this boat should hopefully be ready for some water. This cable's gonna work out beautiful. There we go. All right, here we go. Ready for this? Oh, look at that. Oop, I like the speed. I see some levers.
Now we bent this header back and it's leaning a little bit towards this way, so it's kind of actually bowed out, which we purposely did a little bit because naturally it's going to want to be shoved back. So when you hit the ground, it'll kind of go back into its own place is what our theory is. But it's not very far, it's just a tiny bit forward. But that being said, we kind of shelved this, put some other stuff ahead of us, get things done that we need to get done, and now I'm gonna get back at this. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go ahead and replace these roller bearings for the canvases. So we got 1, 2, and then we have 3 for this canvas here, and then we have 2 center ones right here. And then there's a hydraulic motor there that tends to go bad, and it'll send stuff through the whole system and bad things happen. So we're going to replace that as well. It's not cheap, but it's a lot cheaper than replacing all the motors. So we're just going to do that. We'll pull those canvas off, change these bearings, and then put a couple guards on it, check a couple things out, and make it work. So let's go ahead and take this one and get it ready to pull out. I'm going to need a slide hammer to slide those bearings out, and It's the easiest way we found. So where is it at? Yep, it's in this one. There it is. Okay. And then, yeah, we'll take that roller assembly and pull those bearings out. And then we'll put new ones in. Let's get busy. Okay, there we go. One thing I noticed is shoving grease out of this one, and it looks like the seal's coming out of it. And here's a new one. Yeah, I guess it was about time to change it. I mean, it still feels fairly decent, but it doesn't take long for it to go bad. So we'll put this one in.
So I think the parts finally came in to finish this project with the boat. My throttle cables, but the problem I ran into again, which nothing ever works out just perfect, is the opening. This is what the kit came with. This is the throttle cable. It was significantly smaller. So I drilled that out, got it so it fits the arm on here. This is your shift linkage, and then your throttle, which is back here. And I just am now putting it in. I had to remount this holder here that holds your cable, so you can do the adjustment for your throw. So it does fit on here. I can put a pin in, lock it. I think this is gonna work. This latch, which holds the cable from popping back up, doesn't quite fit, so I gotta work on that. But I think I'm getting real close to running this down, around, and then I got the control unit, which is gonna go in too. So we'll get to that in just a second, but I wanted to get this buttoned up first and make sure this works. Obviously there's no returning any of this stuff because I modified it. Okay, well, I think I got it in there. Those were too big to fit in this bracket too, but I'll clamp that all, get that tight. I think I got the adjustment for it, so here's the cable. I'm just gonna pull on it, see it move. So that's forward, neutral, reverse, full, neutral, forward. So we're in business. So let's run these cables up to the front, and let's get the throttle and shifter installed up here. Slowly put together this hodgepodge of parts here. And this shift box that I was priced right. It's honestly not built well. Good plastic, nice aluminum, but the little tabs here that stop it from sliding back and forth, that lock it in place, were, well, too small, and they pop out of these. I've seen that before in other boats. So I took a copper pipe, and I slotted it, and pounded it in there, and now it is tight. So now it's solid in there. So now I'm gonna start putting it back together, put the center piece in, and then get the shift linkage hooked up. The other downside is the way this thing came, just the way it is, the red handle is the tall one, that's straight. The black handle is the short one. But the way it fits in this boat, there's no way to have the throttle on the inside without having the tall red one, and then the shifter, the small one, right, small bent one on the right, which I don't want. I want the small bent one on the left, the tall one on the right. So red's gonna be shifting, black is gonna be throttle. I know that's backwards, I think. I can always paint it, but it'll fit better this way and feel more natural. I ran into our little problem. I knew this was gonna happen, but I guess I didn't know exactly what's going on. This little dowel here they have that holds it, locks it in place. The length between here and here is way too long, and there's not enough adjustment on that end. And what it ends up doing is it takes your lever and throws it half position already, and then all you have is just this little bit right here. See, like that? So it's not getting enough throw to go fully into reverse, neutral, forward, or the full throttle. And what we really need is for this to be adjustable, but I think they glue that on there somehow. There's no way to take that off and move it up and down this rod. But it really, instead of here, it needs to be anchored there or there. And then that would give you the full throw, or as much as you need. Oh, this lever here, it's really hard to do with one hand holding the camera. I'm sorry, guys. So we've talked about it. We've got a bunch of different ideas. What we're thinking is Leg Arms is going to machine a new dowel out of an aluminum bar stock, and then we're going to put a set screw in it, thread it and put a set screw. So he's getting ready here. And then that way we'll make our own dowel that holds that throttle cable. So we can then slide it over, put it on here, run the set screw, pick the position we want, and then that pops in place there with the piece he's making. Make sense?
Since I didn't have a smaller.
Yeah, I know, it's too bad.
I need more.
Yeah, that one's really too big. We just don't have any around here.
That's that size right there. There you go, it's on. If it works, you could grind or take off those plastic pieces too.
Yeah, you could.
Because you don't need them on.
There it is. Okay. Moment of truth. Neutral.
Okay, it's a neutral.
Reverse. I think we got
It's locked down here. Go forward.
reverse.
That's reverse. Okay, it's locked. Locked.
Well, it's together and they work really well. Throttle and shifting, so spot on. Now we just got to figure out how to mount this to the boat. And that's the next step. But it looks good, and then I got to get a shut off switch installed up here so you can kill the engine. So that'll be up here somewhere, a push button. Again, no starter, so got to pull start. So you have to climb back there, give it a yank, then you shut it off here. This is so fun. Kids are going to love it. You weren't wearing the right helmet last time.
Look at that. It's like the best speed I've ever done on welding.
Oh, yeah.
For aluminum, that is.
Yeah, that's
For aluminum, that's the best I've ever done.
pretty good. Pretty good. I'm impressed. All right, and where were we? Oh, yes. Mounting this. So I went ahead, put a piece of angle iron. So we were trying to figure out how to mount this to the boat without drilling holes in the boat, because it's a beautiful classic boat. We don't want to drill holes in the boat. My uncle put a lot of time into this boat, getting it fixed back up. Don't need more holes. I already drilled a couple back there for that steering bracket, so I gotta get stainless steel bolts. They look kind of ugly right now. They're just off the shelf bolts. But anyways, piece of angle iron. There's a flange that goes off the side of this aluminum. It's riveted to the side. That's what the seat sits on. So laying a piece of angle iron underneath there, trimmed it to the shape of the hole. That'll be bolted tight. And then I'm gonna have a piece of flat iron that comes straight up with some holes, and the bolts will just go right to, and then that'll sit right like that, right there. What do you think? Good? Perfect, let's go with it. Okay, you ready? I did a little water here, as you can see. I've got my makeshift earmuffs in the bottom of this thing, but I think it'll work. Let's give her a pull. Oh, I love 4 strokes. So I'm not gonna put it in gear because the prop's literally touching the bucket and it's just gonna go crazy. Interesting. All right, throttle. Here we go. Beautiful. Kill switch, just put that in. Done. Oh yeah, oh, it feels so good. There was a lot of little hurdles along there, getting that all set up, but got the kit for the Evinrude. That worked out. These cables were supposed to be for an Evinrude. They did not match up, had to modify those. This didn't work, had to modify that. This is an arm that's supposed to be universal. Pretty good. Honestly, this kit's nice. Did a good job. Steering cable had to replace twice. And then, that was definitely not meant to be with this either. Or that. This was not forecasted. If you look closely, you can see there is some chunks of ice coming down. Definitely some hail on that. It's not really very large. I mean, you're talking pea size. Coming down sideways though, that can still do a lot of damage. We do have hail insurance, so I mean, if there is any damage, we can claim on it. But the moisture though, I mean, this is just so critical right now. Finishing out some of these heads, the peas. Praise the Lord. I mean, I don't know, maybe there's a lot more hail out that way that's happening that I don't see right now, but this is what it's gonna do. We get 1500s out of this, 2/10. I know it sounds like nothing to some of you guys, but that could be tens of thousands of dollars worth of moisture that adds to your crop. Tens of thousands. If we got a ½ inch out of this right now, it could probably add $80,000 to our crop. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh my word. Oh, I just praise the Lord. Oh, it just makes me want to cry seeing that. You just do so much work, so much on the line. 3 families that's supported by this legacy, and we got 4 going on 5 years of drought. You just pray for this. And it's not forecasted, and it just comes down like this. Look at that, look at the water. Oh, I don't know. Guys, I don't know what to say. I don't want to say those of you who have not been in this field won't know what I'm feeling right now, but those that have been in this situation and have been praying for rain and to see it come down, it's really hard to explain. All right, enough emotion. I better get back to work. A couple finishing touches on this boat before we get her out in the water. One, got to put these decals on. So these are original decals from the Crestliner facility. So my uncle from Minnesota originally grew up right in the neighborhood of the area, and he had some connections, and he called an old buddy of his that actually used to work for Crestliner way back in the day and said, hey, I don't know if he worked there or if his dad worked there or somebody had a connection there.
He did.
And, oh, he did. And he used to collect the decals, and he just happened to ask, hey, did you just happen to have a set of decals laying around? That's from 1950s. 57 to be precise. And he goes, let me check. And he had a whole pile of them and dug through and pulled these out. These are the original decals. So we're gonna put these on. But first, it just needs a little bit of polishing. So I just went ahead and took the buffing wheel and wow. Yeah, that's gonna be different. So we're gonna run that through the whole thing. You can see the original decals right here. We're gonna go through, I'm gonna clean that all up and then put those on a nice shiny layer. So let's get to work. Well, that was dirty. I gotta clean all that black stuff off. That's that polishing compound. I got it about as good as I can get it. I'm not gonna go down. I mean, there's some pitted areas on here. It just, at least it's got a shine to it now. So when I get the pressure washer and clean off all the black, get out of those pits, I think it's gonna have a nice shine to it, get the decals on it. It obviously already had the stickers on here, so pretty hard to buff up those. There's just not a lot I can do there. But I'll work on a little more here and there. Like there used to be an MT right here, see Montana, and a sticker right there. Some of that old residue is really tough to get off. It just needs a lot more time working on it. I don't have a lot of time, so this might be what I get. But we'll clean it up. We'll see what it looks like when it's all cleaned off. Maybe just go with it. What do you think? Yeah. That's a quick thought. All right, let's go. It's a little different than the original, just barely. I tried to line up as well as I could, but I can tell the shape is just slightly different than the original. But that looks quite nice. Oh yeah, look at that. You can see my reflection too. Isn't that pretty sweet? All right, one more to go. She's a beaut. She's a beaut. Here we go. Just about there. Just the C left. much better. And back then, they only had one tail light too. I might have to update that. I don't think that's legal anymore. Okay, reveal time. Here we go. Not the cleanest buffing job in the world, but it sure shines now. Didn't see my reflection before. Now I can. It's gonna be great on the lake. It's gonna go to the lake in 2 days. So I got a couple more little things to do, but guys, I think that's gonna be great. Kids are gonna love it. It's gonna be a great boat to teach kids how to run boats. Yes, you can teach kids how to drive boats too. They just have to be on your lap, but they're gonna be able to steer this thing with ease because the steering is absolutely amazing. Throttle and shift, super smooth. Thanks for watching, guys. That was a fun project. Didn't have time for it, but somehow we fit it in. So now I gotta go show the kids their new boat. Isn't that awesome? Old Gramps, he would have been proud. I'm sure this thing was just sharp when it was brand new. 1957. Isn't that amazing how many years have gone by? 1957. Yeah, he would have loved it. But for all those Crestliner fans out there, I hope we did a little justice to this thing. Let's go. No, here, you hold it. Oh! Oh, that's what I was trying to tell them. Okay. The engine. Oh, the engine. Okay. Oh, wait, no, we call this a boat motor. This is a motor, right? We don't say boat engine, boat motor. But it uses motor oil. So I think the parts, so I think the parts finally came in